And
No!
what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is TheUzigunner, and I'm here to bring to you all the Week 5 of the Ultimate Battle League, where I'm going to be going up against none other than my good pal known as Automatic. Now, this is a man who is currently in the IBL Finals, if I recall correctly. I probably am getting that wrong, but regardless, he's a very cool dude, and at the same time very talented as well. In fact, he's actually the brains behind the UBL website, which really makes things very convenient for us coaches, and it's pretty nice to see from an aesthetical perspective. So yeah, be sure to give his channel a look, guys. It's definitely one hell of a dude. And yeah, now another thing that I need to go into would have to be the fact that first of all, there was no week 4 match because, again, I actually took an activity win versus Deebs because unfortunately, like, he couldn't show up on time for our match, and at the same time, like, because a lot was happening to his real life basically. But later on, he did come to me and say that he was still ready for a fight in case I wanted it. But unfortunately, I decided to stick with the forfeit victory because, again, as of now, I'm very much lacking in time, and just making videos like this in general really takes a good chunk of time, especially if we are to consider the fact that, like, since I live in an apartment which does not have the best upload speed in terms of internet, a lot of time gets wasted, and at the same time, like, if I'm uploading something on YouTube, my laptop gets slower. So overall, I needed to take the forfeit victory, so I'm really sorry for that, guys. And on the note of my life really just transitioning into a very busy stage because, again, like, I got like 3 assignments, 1 presentation, and 1 class is due next week. I'm actually going to rush through this team builder, and I apologize in advance if my battle narration does not end up being as good as, you know, I usually want it to be. So I hope just for these few number of weeks, I hope you guys are able to withstand it all. But yeah, regardless, Auto is 4-0. Your boy's also 4-0. Streak versus streak. One way or another, tonight somebody's streak is going to end, and we're gonna make sure that it's a BPC that's gonna be standing tall. Regardless, let me show you all what team Auto has and what team I have. And just from team preview alone, I guess you could call it a very even-Steven matchup because he definitely has a good number of threats in Hydreigon. Terrakion, which I did have a perfect counter for in terms of my Palossand, but in case you guys can't notice by looking at my new squad now, I actually made some transactions. Got rid of Chestnut for Alakazam. Got rid of let's see, yeah, got rid of Musharna for Tangela because I needed a good 1000 arrow switch in general. And of course, last but not least, I traded Palossand for Rhyperior from Irish. So yeah, overall, I wish I did that 1 week after this, but you know what? I definitely think I have enough threats to be able to take this thing on 1v1, so let's see how it goes. Regardless, let me show you all what I got right now. First things first, we got Blackheart, aka Cure and Black, rocking the ICMZ with Free Shock, Roost, Dragonclaw, and Fusion Bolt. And in case it isn't obvious enough, he has no switch-ins to this thing whatsoever. Because, again, his best switch-in would have to be like what I assume to be a physically defensive Celesteela, but even then that just gets obliterated by Z Free Shock. So, yeah, Cure and Black more or less is a Pokemon that just guarantees a kill immediately the moment it hits the field, and if I time it properly. So it's definitely a very solid wall breaker going into this match, and can definitely help open the door for my other Pokemon, which I'm about to go into, that can actually clean up. And yeah, Dragonclaw and Fusion Bolt because it's filler, and honestly they all hit pretty hard in general. But yeah, this is my main win con, which would have to be my Wujishang, aka the Fistblade Infernape, with the Iron Fist, rocking Swords Dance, Mach Punch, Flare Blitz, and Close Combat. Sorry for hitting the mic there. And it honestly just does so much against Auto's team, it's not even funny. Like, realistically speaking, his best switch-ins for that particular Pokemon would have to be a physically defensive Uxie, and considering the fact that it gets whittled down quite easily, I don't necessarily think I would have much of a hard time against this thing. So in that regard, this can definitely be the Pokemon that just opens up the door later on, and with a well-timed Swords Dance, just pretty much clean up on its own, really. So yeah, that's it. It's definitely a very solid Pokemon. But yeah, next up, we got Ebola, the Alamomola, with Wish, Protect, Liquidation, and Knockoff. This time, you may be surprised to see me not running Toxic this time around, but I figured that, you know what, this time liquidation is very important here because first of all, it gets a huge chunk of damage off on that Nidoking of his, and at the same time especially Terrakion, which I really want to make sure that I get that necessary damage off on, because it more or less ensures the fact that a Mach Punch from Infernape is going to be able to knock it out. And while you could definitely make the argument that stuff like Hydreigon and so on do definitely, you know, can switch it on this thing and do whatever it wants, the fact of the matter is just knocking off their item and potentially finding out what kind of set they could possibly be is a very huge victory in my honest opinion. And yeah, it's mainly physically defensive for the sake of taking on Terrakion 1v1. And you know, it also has a special investment to make sure that it takes some nice hits here and there. Doesn't just get obliterated by Life Orb, Thunderbolt from Nidoking and so on. So yeah. Now, this is another very crucial Pokemon that can definitely put in the work here. And then by that I mean just set the stones for my Infernape to get a potential Swords Dance off and just pretty much wreck house, which would have to be my Light Clay Raikou with Reflect, Light Screen, Volt Switch, and Toxic. Again, this set more or less, it just gets hard walled by Nidoking, but honestly speaking, I don't expect Auto to just easily hard swap into that thing when it just gets, you know, hit really hard with HPIs and extra sensory. So in that regard, just being able to get both screens up is very crucial here, and it also helps in dealing with stuff like Hydreigon, Nidoking, and so on. So yeah, it's a very crucial Pokemon. And for the final two Pokemon, we have a Charity Berry, Crobat, which is actually more physically defensive this time around, with Defog, Ruse, Brave Bird, Super Fang, and pretty much again the same set all over again. And it again, just like all these other past matches, it can actually put in the work in terms of whittling things down to the point of no return, so that some of my other hard-hitting Pokemon like my Infernape or my Kyurem Black can just come in and just pretty much do whatever it wants, really. And the Charity Berry is very important because again, I will be able to live any sort of Stone Edge from the Terrakion Abyss. Even a Z Continental Crush does not actually end up knocking me out. So just being able to get that Super Fang damage again guarantees the fact that Wujishang's Mach Punch is going to be able to knock it out, which again is a very crucial thing going into this matchup because again, Terrakion is a very huge problem to my squad. So yeah. Pretty solid Pokemon. And last but not least, we got a double Giron, the Mega Aggron, with Stealth Rock, Heavy Slam, Toxic, and Roar. Again, pretty much a standard defensive set this time around, because honestly speaking, I need something that can, you know, make Auto more hesitant towards spamming Draco Meteor, because as you can tell from my team composition, it can just easily do just that. And yeah, just, you know, just giving him that false sense of wariness is definitely something that I can definitely benefit from, I feel. And Toxic is here to really put things like Gastrodon and Co on a timer, and overall just open up the door for my Wujishang to pretty much clean up late game. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it for this team. Hope you all enjoyed, and with that, let us move on into the game, shall we? Hey guys, we are back right now, and as you can see, this is what my boy Automatic brought against me, and just from team preview alone, I am very much relieved to see absolutely no Nidoking whatsoever, because quite frankly, that Pokemon can just straight up run circles around me. So yeah, just not being able to face that thing is a very huge sigh of relief for me. But if there's anything that I'm very much surprised by seeing in this particular matchup, it would have to be definitely his Jolteon, because in my honest opinion, while it definitely does give him scope in terms of guaranteeing momentum for his squad, I definitely have lots of answers to it in the form of a Raikou and my Kyurem Black, which pretty much is a free switch into this thing. And pretty much all the, you know, initiative that it needs to just do whatever it wants, really. So regardless, it's still something that I need to play carefully around, especially considering the fact that my Raikou has no sort of recovery whatsoever. But yeah, if there are any two Pokemon that really make me concerned the most, it would have to be that Hydreigon as well as his Terrakion, which honestly just knows how to break my squad. So on that note, I am definitely going to lead off with my Raikou and try to get the screens up ASAP, because in doing so, the Terrakion and that Hydreigon won't be able to do what it wants with me, really. So yeah, out comes my Royal Bengal, rocking the nice and clean Cherish Ball. Automatic is going to lead off with his Pichu Bros, which reveals to be his Jolteon. Perfectly fine. And here I'm very much convinced that he's definitely going to go for a Volt Switch and try to go out into something like his Terrakion, which is why I'm going to go straight for a Reflect right now. But instead he chooses to stay in and goes for a Thunderbolt, which I found a pretty odd play, considering the fact that Raikou just pretty much sets up on a Jolteon anytime, any place, anywhere. So, yeah, my over prediction is going to come to bite me in the butt big time already, which kind of sucks, not gonna lie, but it's whatever. He's now gonna go straight for another Signal Beam, which is actually going to put me almost near half HP, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. I'm going to be able to get my light screen up, which is a very, 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 very good thing for me, because now this more or less gives me the perfect switching into my Kyurem Black, aka the Black Heart. Whatever he chooses to go for, I'm going to be able to chew up just fine. Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, you name it, it don't matter. So he is going to go straight for a Thunderbolt. That is going to do absolutely pitiful damage, and this is looking nice and clean for us, ladies and gentlemen. So, considering the fact that he has no switch in, considering the fact that I'm probably not going to get a free opportunity to go straight for my ICMZ. I'm going to go straight for that right now. He chooses to go out into a Celesteela. But again, it don't matter, bros, because this is a Z Free Shock Kyurem Black, and it's about to claim its kill, ladies and gentlemen. I need to stop saying ladies and gentlemen so many times. Either way, Sub-Zero Slammer is shown. He is going to go straight up on that nice and clean pedestal of his, and he is going to fire off that very vicious Sub-Zero, and just like that, Celesteela's HP is going to drop straight into red, and you can pretty much be convinced of the fact that it ain't gonna be doing anything else in this matchup. So yes, Otto knowing the fact that, you know, Celesteela is not going to be able to do anything in this matchup, Otto is going to let this thing die, and just like that, we're going to be able to get the 5-6 lead. Not bad at all. He is going to just go straight out into Zuxi. Obviously, since I popped my Sub-Zero Slammer, I have no reason to stay in whatsoever. If he goes for Foul Play or something, that would be pretty bad, I guess you could say. But since I'm convinced of the fact that he's definitely going to go set up his Stealth Rocks right now, I'm going to follow suit and do exactly just that, because I need Stealth Rocks up to ensure the fact that I come one step closer towards cleaning things up with my Infernape later on in the game. So yes, I'm going to just straight up get that nice and clean Mega Evolution off. Mega Aggron is here to hit the field. The VPC's MVP, y'all already know. He's gonna go straight for a U-turn because he knows that he can't do anything to my Mega Aggron, because whatever he does, I have an answer for, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, I'm going to go straight for my Stealth Rocks right now. He is going to go straight out into his Gastrodon, perfectly fine. And considering the fact that I'm under Light Screen, I'm under Reflect, there is nothing that this Gastrodon can do to me that I would be able to, that, you know, would be of a concern to me. So I'm just going to go straight for a Toxic. It was a free-ass play anyways. And if he tries to be a Cursed, which I definitely think he could potentially be, because that actually is a considerably large threat to me, I guess you could say, I'm going to be able to roar it out and just do whatever I want later on in the game. And unfortunately, he's going to go for a Skull and be able to snag the burn on me, which kind of sucks, not going to lie, but you know what, it's perfectly fine. I am honestly not going to, like, my match, as far as my match here goes with Mega Aggron, getting burned is the least of my concerns when I can Toxic pretty much his entire team, and considering the fact that Celesteela is already gone, there is absolutely nothing stopping me from achieving just that. Anyways, he's gonna go straight for an Earth Power with his Gastrodon, and you're gonna see that do absolutely pitiful damage to me, which is perfect, which is absolutely phenomenal. What I am going to do right now would honestly have to be just go straight for what I assume to be a Wish right now, because it was a no drawback play. In hindsight, that probably was not what I was supposed to do. Oh no, I actually go for a knockoff, trying to come one step closer towards opening the door for my Infernape to just clean up later on in the game, and he's unfortunately gonna miss his Toxic, which really sucks for him, because again, Alomomola without getting Toxic is a huge pain in the butt. So yes, what I'm going to do now is just pretty much just take this as the opportunity to go hard out into my Crobat and do what I want, do whatever it is that I feel like, really. Because again, considering the fact that his Gastrodon is Toxic, he is definitely not going to be able to beat my set 1v1. So he is going to choose to make a hard swap out straight into the Peach Bros, aka Jolteon. Pretty solid play on Otto's part, because that is definitely going to force me to hard swap out into what I assume to be my Kyurem Black, which is kind of bad news for me considering the fact that I am going to be taking Stealth Rocks damage, followed up with what I assume to be a stab hit of a courtesy of a Thunderbolt. But it should be fine, as I would be able to go for a Roost. Now here, pretty much assume that he doesn't have Volt Switch because he never went for that on my Raikou, but instead he pops it off right now, which is actually a very huge concern for me, because as you can see, my Black Heart is more or less going to be forced to swap out next turn, because I assume that he's going to go straight out into his Terrakion, which is actually pretty damn bad for me. But instead he goes out into his Hydreigon, which is pretty much the same as scenario. And yeah, like unless I get a chance to go for a roost, Blackheart's gonna come in with a very low amount of health, which is definitely not good for me. But yeah, I'm pretty much forced to go hard out into my Mega Aggron here because it was pretty much the only play I had at this point. He's gonna go straight for a U-turn, not go for any offensive move on me, which pretty much leads me to believe that he could potentially be Choice Scarf, which would honestly be a very huge sigh of relief for me because that's one threat that I don't have to be very much concerned about, really. So yeah, he's gonna go straight out into his Chris, aka the Gastrodon. I'm going to go straight out into my Crobat because, again, I do not want my Blackheart to get burned or anything. And at the same time, I can definitely whittle this thing down and pretty much come one step closer towards setting the door, like opening up the door for an Infernape sweep. So he's going to go for a Recover, pretty solid play on Otto's behalf. But you know what, it's definitely going to be a lost cause because, again, Toxic, since he's badly poisoned, I am definitely going to be winning this exchange 1v1. It doesn't matter if he goes for, you know, if he's able to snag a burn on me or anything. Unless, of course, he gets some cheeky predictions, right, courtesy of an Earth Power and so on. I will be able to beat this set 1v1 anytime, any place, anywhere. So yeah, I'm going to be able to get the defog off, which is actually pretty damn sick for me because this also ensures the fact that Blackheart won't have to be taking that huge chunk of damage from coming in from Stealth Rocks and pretty much be at red HP, which is definitely not what I wanted. But anyways, I'm just going to go keep going for Roost and try to stall out this Gastrodon, considering the fact that he definitely cannot necessarily do whatever he wants to me. And yeah, he's unfortunately going to be able to snag a burn on me, which, you know what, is perfectly fine. Again, Crobat's main goal is to pretty much put things in range courtesy of a Super Fang anyway. So as long as that is not jeopardized, I am a happy camper, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, I'm going to keep going for a Roost. He is just gonna pretty much just go for the same ass moves over and over again. And yeah, he's gonna go for one more Recover again, which, you know what, perfectly fine. And yeah, regardless, I'm just, what's gonna happen is just me just pretty much keep spamming Roost at this point because I really had nothing to gain So, nothing to lose, yes, is what I meant. But, yeah, I'm gonna go for one more Super Fang, which more or less guarantees the fact that his Gastrodon is going to definitely 100% die to the next Toxic damage, which is actually pretty damn sick for me. Now, while this does mean that my Crobat is going to be at nearly half HP, that is fine because, again, my main goal is to ensure the fact that I get that Terrakion down low enough to make sure the fact that Mach Punch from Infernape kills him off. So he's going to go out into that, and I'm going to say and go for a Super Fang because, again, I can find out exactly what kind of set he could potentially be. He doesn't reveal to be Choice Scarf, and unfortunately, I missed my Super Fang, which is a very huge problem for me because now, the fact that he sets up a Sword Dance is fine, but I need to hit my next Super Fang right now if I'm to ensure the fact that Mach Punch from an Infernape is going to be able to knock it out. But yeah, he's going to go straight for a Rock Polish, which actually made me very concerned, but you know what, at the back of my head, I was very much a bit relaxed, I guess. But either way, what I'm mainly worried about would have to be him being a Chobbleberry Terrakion, which is exactly what I thought after he had shown Rock Slide, because honestly I figured that if he had brought Stone Edge, it would definitely come with the Rock EMZ. So as Z Rock Slide is definitely not, in my honest opinion, worth it from a damage output perspective. So trying to play safe and not jeopardize my win con, I'm actually going to go hard out into my Alomomola, and you're going to see that Rock Slide do not even enough for me. Alomomola is going to chew that up, go straight for a Liquidation, and thankfully enough, it is going to be able to knock out that Terrakion, which is very huge for me. Auto revealed that it was a roll to knock him out, which kind of sucks, but considering the fact that I had missed my Super Fang, and in theory, if I had been able to hit 2 Super Fangs in a row, the roll wouldn't have even mattered. So I guess it just made up for it on its own. So anyways, I'm just going to go straight for a Protect right now, trying to make sure that I get myself back up to a more decent amount of health. He's going to go straight for a Volt Switch if what I'm seeing is true. I did not exactly catch that, but it's perfectly fine, really. What I am going to do right now, honestly, would have to be hard swapping out straight into what I assume to be my AWG-ron, the Mega Aggron, because again, it did what it needed to do, honestly, and I didn't want to jeopardize my Cure in Black because Thunderbolt into the Signal Beam, it actually knocks it out from here. So yeah, either way, the fact that he's going for all these Thunderbolts is definitely a very huge, very good thing for me, because he now more or less just guaranteed put himself in range from a Fistblade Mach Punch from my Infernape, especially after this Life Orb recoil. So that's actually pretty damn sick. But instead of going out in my Cure Black and prioritizing health, I'm going to take this as the perfect opportunity to set up my screens again, because again, I'm now at a point where I can definitely set up the plan of making my Infernape clean up in game. So he's going to go for another Volt Switch. You know what? Again, I'm perfectly chill with that. I assume that his Defogger would have to be his Hydreigon, but considering the fact that he just went out into his Uxie, I'm now more or less convinced that he is not. He is definitely not running Defog on his Hydreigon. So on that regard, I'm going to be able to go for a Toxic on this Uxie, which is actually pretty damn sick for me, because now I more or less guarantee myself the fact that I'm going to be able to 1v1 the rest of his 1v1 this thing, especially with my Infernape after some well-timed Swords Dances. But either way, I actually make a bit of a misplay in the sense that instead of making the arguably better play, which I would have to be going for a Volt Switch, which would, you know, definitely put this thing more in range of Infernape after setting up a Sword Dance and so on, I actually end up going for a Reflect, which looking back was definitely not the play I should have made. But he's just gonna go for a U-turn. You know what? He's making the play he should, really. And he's gonna go out into his Websis. And now I assume that he's definitely gonna he's gonna go for a Defog, in which case I definitely have a counter for that in terms of Toxic, but he just goes for a Dark Pulse, which more or less just pretty much 100% confirms that he does not have a Defog on his Hydreigon. And unfortunately, I'm going to miss my Dark Pulse, miss my Toxic, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, considering the fact that now this gives me the perfect opportunity to go straight out into my Wujishang. That's right, folks, last season's MVP is about to come in clutch, and it has absolutely nothing stopping it from going straight for a Swords Dance. And like, yeah, Hydreigon could have stayed in and gone for a Dark Pulse, but that would have done really nothing for screens and just pretty much more or less 100% guaranteed the fact that he would just lost, really. So yeah, he's gonna go out into his Uxie again making the best play he possibly could. I am actually just going to go for another Swords Dance because I ran my calcs and apparently I needed that in order to guarantee the fact that he would definitely 100% die from a Flare Blitz. As he's going to go for a Sidekick again, that is going to be doing absolutely pitiful amount of damage to me. Again, thanks to courtesy on my screens. And now he has absolutely nothing stopping me from going straight for a Flare Blitz. I'm going to go straight for that right now, and you're going to see that Uxie get torn a new one. As just like that, his Uxie is going to hit the hay, and Infernape is gonna... No! Infernape is going to be able to live at a sliver amount of health, and this more or less guarantees the fact that I will be able to clean up right now, because I'm going to go for a +4 Mach Punch, +4 Mach Punch, followed by a Fist Plate. It don't matter what you are, if you're Chopple or anything, you are not living, ladies, you are not living, my friend. And last but not least, the only Pokemon remaining would have to be that Pichu Bros, aka the Jolteon, which y'all already know is not going to be able to live this Mach Punch. And just like that, Wujishang is going to be able to come in clutch, and the BPC ends up being the only undefeated squad in the UBL. Whew. So yeah, very solid game. A very solid game with Otto. He definitely had me on the ropes on a lot of occasions, but thankfully that's the tech that I had with my Raikou ended up coming in clutch for yours truly. And just like that, we're officially 5-0 right now, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Obviously, I plan on staying undefeated and trying to make sure that I have a clean record. Probably not gonna happen because the competition I have this time around is pretty stiff, but you know what? I'll try to get there. But anyways, as much as I'd wish to talk more about this match, I'm pretty much just running short of time. I need to edit this real quick and just bring it out to you guys. So either way, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video in any way, feel free to drop a like on this video and let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the transactions that I made. If you think they are you know, beneficial for my squad, do let me know. But either way, this is TheUzigunner signing out. Be sure to check out Otto's channel. I look forward to facing you next week, Serene Grace. And with that, I bid you adieu. Push!